I like Princess Leia when she's not flying in space. Man, there's not many Disney women I like. Let's get out of this subject.
We're about to change our name to the Deck Boys because we got some big deck energy going on over at Showboys.
Wow. The house is like 900 degrees over there.
I guess you have like extra heat resistance as a firefighter. Is that
Yeah,
that's a good trait to have.
They are like the things that will crawl into your skin and plant eggs, and you just die. Hello. Welcome to the Showboys podcast. I am back as the aggressively mediocre host, and I'm joined by my friends and co-hosts, Nick and Mike. You know, Mike, I almost didn't recognize you. I feel like I haven't seen you in a long time.
It's been a couple weeks.
How have you been, sir?
It's been a while.
I've been good. Super busy. Life has been chaos. As you can tell, new background.
Yeah.
I'm actually at Nick's house, and he's about 5 feet over there.
The crazy thing about that is you are in like this fluorescent white landscape, and then I am in this dark, like grungy.
It's so true, but we're literally like 5 feet apart.
I mean, I didn't know. Like, if you wouldn't have told me that you were in the same place, I would have guessed that you were in two different places.
Yeah. Well, we're not. He just threw stuff at me.
There's your proof.
Yeah. Life's been crazy, and it's change of scenery because as of today officially, I am homeless. We sold our house. It's no longer ours. The transfer happened today, so my podcast studio is no longer the studio. So with that being said, I should probably just get this out there. This is going to be my last podcast with Showboys.
What?
In Ohio. Yeah.
Oh, Mike.
I don't know. Is Nick's mic muted? But
yeah.
This will be my last show here in Ohio. I believe I don't know if I'll be on next week or not because we drive down to Florida the next day, so I might be packing the rest of the stuff up in the truck. But next time you see me, we'll be in the new house, new setup in the sunny tropical Southwest Florida. So
awesome. That's very exciting.
It is. I'm super excited. I've talked about it a couple times before, but we're moving down there to help start a church, which is very exciting. I'm super pumped. Just gonna be real with everyone for like a couple minutes. What God has been doing in my life over the last several months has just been off the wall, insane. His faithfulness is amazing, and I'm really excited to see what he does down there. And I'm just excited to get my hands dirty, get back to work, and truly do the Lord's work. Not show. I mean, as much as you guys think Showboys is me doing the Lord's work, it's not. But I'm excited, and it should be a good time. Could be worse places that I could have ended up.
Yeah, you're really suffering for the Lord in Florida.
Yeah.
No, that's cool though. I love it. So Nick,
how am I supposed to follow that up?
You can't. Episode over.
Hi, I'm hosting Mike from my basement on his last show from Ohio.
Yeah.
So that's about all important I am. Outside of that,
you.
You know, it is kind of sad. I was talking with Jared. If you guys know about Pokeboys
oh, that
or
Jared.
watched or listened to the few Pokemon related episodes we've done on Showboys, Jared was a guest on those, and I was talking to him earlier. Just how weird it is, like not being in that house anymore, because along with all the like family memories and like life memories and stuff of stuff that happened there with our family in that house, it was also the birthplace of Showboys.
Yes.
So it's kind of weird. Like, I don't know. Maybe
Peace out,
I wonder
Showboys.
if the new owners will ever find us on YouTube and like see how the basement looked
You
on
should have
Thursday
left.
nights.
You should have left the sticker behind, or like
Oh.
a magnet. Oh yeah, we want to try to give that OLED switch away. So
I was gonna say,
The
the
track
birthplace
so long.
Showboys is wherever this is.
Yeah. Showboys is where the switch is.
So make sure you subscribe for a chance to win that sucker.
Yeah.
Sucker.
Sucker. All right, so yeah, you're good, Nick. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, I'm good.
Cool.
Mike's here. Besides having company in my basement every once in a while. Usually I just sit down here for like 9 to 12 hours a day all by my lonesome. Maybe more. Like it's a lonely, sad life I live.
That's pretty rough, man.
Yeah, not in Florida.
With palm trees surrounding you.
Yeah, lagoons and
Man.
We should have done it like a slideshow of your new place.
Yeah.
Could have talked about that.
Well, maybe next time when I
Do a
get down there, I don't know, I'll do a little video or something. I don't know.
Do a tour. Yeah. Like a little short.
Yeah.
A tour. All right. So I'm very excited for the topic for tonight.
we have a topic?
I think so. Do we?
Nice. I just got here.
Oh man. I did not prepare.
Wait, question.
Answer.
What is the construction to the left of your head?
That looks like a bunk bed.
That's a bunk bed.
Oh, okay, that was not there last week.
No, I just put that there this week.
Nice.
I've been very busy on my vacation.
Family's growing.
Yeah, I'm now to 10 children.
I was gonna say, did you add children, hence the bunk beds?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just say
they need places to sleep.
Whenever someone says like I'm not prepared or you're not prepared, all I think of is the Burning Crusade cinematic trailer.
You are not.
Yeah, sorry, every time. Just Illidan. Anyways, what are we talking about tonight, Jeff?
So before we do that, before we get into that, I would like to shout out our top tier patrons. Yusuf H, Joe C, and Jim B.
Hey, whoa. Joe C. He's no longer a top tier patron, but he's still a patron.
Still patron.
Still a
thank you,
patron.
Joe.
Yeah,
He
he has some financial hardships, and
did.
He's
for that top tier. But he's like, Hall of Fame. He's a Hall of Famer.
He's grandfathered in.
He's been there for so long. I just
literally
he still needs to be shouted out, I think.
Absolutely. So anyway, you guys rock. You help keep the lights on. Maybe you help Mike move.
Neither of your guys' lights are on.
I have a light.
Dude, you're in my basement. It looks like you're in freaking heaven.
You have all the lights, Mike. You stole the lights from Nick. Oh man. Yeah. Anyway, we love all of you patrons. If you guys have no idea what that is, go over to patreon.com/showboyspodcast for more information. All right. So tonight we are talking about Polyphia, the great band that we three know and love.
It's not an STD.
It could be. Not sure.
Maybe. I don't think.
Okay.
We're talking about America's band, not an STD. The musicianship, they have set very high bars. and has caused many musicians like myself to question their pursuit of creating music.
I've actually burned all my guitars.
Yeah. I actually went out and bought another one to
And
twist
then
the knife.
then he burned it.
Then I
I will
burn it.
be as good as Tim Henson.
No, never going to
Yeah.
happen. He started at 10. I did not. I was the dummy and started playing drums in high school.
Ouch. So now you're neither a good drummer or guitar player? Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Don't listen. He's great at both. And actually, Jeff is one of those drummers that like I can just sit and watch him play drums forever and just be so entertained. He's
Aww.
So like
he's really good at drums, but he's also like really fun to watch play drums.
Does he like have spit flying from his mouth and stuff? Like,
No. It's just when you see a good drummer play and you're like, yeah, I can watch that for a while.
well, now I'm confused because he
But-
really undersold it and you really oversold it. So
there's got to be a middle ground somewhere.
he's mediocre, is what I'm getting.
Aggressively.
Aggressively mediocre. Yep. Yep. Absolutely. That I do actually remember a time that we were playing a show and you stopped playing guitar just to watch me, and I thought it was kind of awkward and weird. I'm like, dude, we're trying to play a show. What are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, it happens.
So we were talking about Polyphia, not Jeff. Not Jeff. Polyphia
I
is
thought
way more
I
entertaining.
thought we were gonna go around the room and like talk about our musical talents.
We can.
Oh, okay.
Nick,
What?
do you play?
Hades.
Hades.
Great
right
game.
now. Great game. Yeah, I play a lot of Hades. There's really cool music in that game. I would be on the mixing board. I would just be like listening and producing it. Say like that's nice, that's not nice. Do a little bit more of that, a little less of that.
So you'd be like a producer.
Yeah. I have an ear for it. I don't have a skill for making it. I
That's
help
cool.
people hear their talent in the correct light.
Yeah. That's awesome. Mike, how about you?
I don't know. I just sometimes play guitar and bass and I don't know things. Like to write music. I don't know.
So you started on bass. Like when I met you, right?
I did,
That was
yes.
when you were playing bass, and then you
Yeah,
Okay.
I started on bass junior or senior year of high school. I think it was my senior year of high school. Joined like a crappy 3-piece punk band when I was in high school, and that's how I learned how to play music.
didn't we all?
Yeah.
Piece.
Never, yeah, it's me, a guitarist who I still know. Shout out Rob. It's awesome. Great. He's actually a really good tattoo artist these days.
Oh, that's who
Um,
that is. Okay,
yeah.
okay.
He was a guitarist, and then we had a drummer, and Rob was guitar and vocals, and I played bass. And I learned how to play bass just by like learning songs that I listened to. Never took lessons or anything. Played bass for a couple of years. Met Jeff actually through music. The band he was in needed a bass player, and so I like tried out, I guess, or whatever, and the rest is history. Actually, that is not to go off on this tangent, but that's actually what led to my salvation, honestly, was playing in that band with Jeff.
Oh, good job, Dad.
Yeah. So played bass there for a while, ended up switching to guitar,
Yeah.
like learned guitar by playing in that band. Jeff and I would write our songs on guitar, and then eventually I switched to guitar when Jeff switched to drums. And I've been playing guitar ever since. No longer metal anymore because my fingers are fat and slow, but now I play a lot of acoustic stuff and dabble with writing on piano and messing around with beat makers and stuff like that. Nothing too fancy, but Jeff's over here like putting out solo instrumental albums on SoundCloud and all that fun stuff. I mean, just look at that Roland back there.
Which funny story. It was in my dad's attic for like forever. So, and I ended up bringing it here, and like a bunch of the keys were busted. So I like took it apart, and I don't know if you guys have ever taken apart a piano or a keyboard. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Sounds impossible to put back together.
There's too many like little pieces. I ended up getting it like put back together right. It took a lot of glue.
I don't.
But it works. It works. I mean, there's some that are kind of like
expensive because like if they're tedious to take apart and put back together, then yeah,
it's
makes sense.
I don't recommend it to anyone.
Magical audio machines.
Yeah, it was not a good time. So I know you guys didn't ask, but I started playing drums and in school. I was in band.
That's just like a Showboys host like role. Like,
Yep.
I know you guys didn't ask, but I'm gonna tell you this.
No, yeah, I get it. I get how you feel, Mike. And then probably a few years after that in high school, so middle school, I started drums and band, and then I got into playing guitar in high school. Was in a crappy punk band like Mike, not the same band.
How they all start?
Did you guys compete?
No,
because
although
like 15 years older than me,
we did go to the same school. Oh, you douchebag. Yeah, I was quite a bit older than I mean, I still am quite a bit older than him.
I know I've caught up.
Dad slowed down.
I did. See, when you have kids, it kind of like speeds up the process. Anyway, so I taught myself guitar. Was terrible. Then got into metal, played drums. And it's just kind of been this cycle where I play drums for a while, then play guitar for a while. Then I'll teach myself something like piano, kind of just bounce around like a ping pong ball between the three of them. So yeah, fun. Music's awesome. It's been part of my life for a very long time.
I just want to produce
amazing.
music. That's all I want to do.
Yeah.
That is all right. So this is totally not our topic tonight, but that is one of the most fun aspects for me too, Nick. Honestly, I love writing. Jeff and I write a lot of music together. Haven't in a while, but
It's been a while.
Did
Definitely
for a
gonna
long
happen now.
time. Yeah. Did for a long time, like when we first, met each other and started our friendship, and then a couple years ago, started back up again, and it's really fun. But one of my favorite things to do is to arrange and produce and mix, and music is one of, if not my biggest passion, probably. So it's something I'm like so hyped for the topic tonight. I could talk about this or anything really music related for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. Like,
which I must say, with music being such a passion for actually all three of us, that we don't talk about music more.
Yeah, I know. This is only our second What's Listening episode, so
78 episodes ago we did our first one.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Every 80 episodes we're gonna do one.
So 80 episodes from now. Okay, cool.
See you in 2 years.
Yep. All right, so I have another question.
Okay.
Or a question. I don't know if I asked one earlier. Mike, how did you discover Polyphia, and why do you like them?
It's a good question.
Thanks, you made it up.
Yeah, hey, credit where credit's due, I guess.
Right?
No, so first things first, Polyphia is just like a phenomenal instrumental. I don't even know how to describe them. Pop metal, math rock, prog metal.
Genre
instrumental
bending.
band. Yeah. Guitar centric, but hey, their drummer is nothing to scoff at. Clay is an absolute beast.
So good.
But yeah, I think as I've talked about many times on the show, a lot of things I discover are just YouTube algorithm. Like I'll be watching a video and then something pops up and I'm busy working, so I don't change it or stop it, and I'm like, oh wow, this is actually pretty good. I want to say that's how I found Polyphia, because honestly, they kind of started as a YouTube like guitar band,
Yeah.
and that's kind of a trend. If anyone is familiar with it, there's like a whole YouTube internet guitarist like genre, which we can talk about a little later. But I think I just found it random, up next on YouTube. Fell in love. The music is just incredible. The guitar work is insane. It's catchy. The melodies are intricate. The engineering is insane. And like you said, Jeff, it's very much genre bending. It's not like straight metal. It's not. I truly struggle to describe what it sounds like, honestly. And I think that's what I love the most about it, because at this point, uh, working a job where I can have headphones on or speakers on all day while I'm working and listening to stuff, you kind of get tired of your regular, category of music.
Yeah.
And this was just such a fresh injection of music, and it was something I had never heard before. Really, it's made up of a lot of things people are familiar with, but the way they fuse it all together is
it's
something that does not really exist. And so that's kind of how I fell in love with it. And then a layer deeper, as a musician, understanding the complexity of everything that's happening in all of these songs, I'm just like, I have to hear more because I can't believe what I'm hearing.
Yeah, I mean, and like, I've tried to learn. Stupid of me.
You poor soul.
But like, just trying to play anything by them is just dumb. Don't even try.
Yes.
What
about you? How'd you hear about them?
Me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I think it was a few years ago. I was at the Y working out, because that's what I do.
I just hold 1 second. I muted my microphone to clear my throat, but it came
you-
up through Nick's microphone.
There's no helping you tonight.
You know how loud you clear your throat when you mute. Really loud.
I was like, wait, what was that?
Apologies. Continue.
So yeah, I was at the Y, and I was shuffling through some heavier stuff, because that's, it pumps you up quicker. I came across a band called The Algorithm, which is very progressive and metal and a lot of fun. And then I think I was looking for other stuff in Amazon Music. It has a section where you have customers also listen to blah 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 blah. Saw Polyphia, and I think what I listened to first was New Levels, New Devils.
Great album.
And I for whatever reason, I couldn't get into it. It might have been the environment, whatever. I just kind of brushed past it. Fast forward maybe a year or two later, it was actually when early days of D&D, and you told him about Pliny.
Oh, yes.
So I went down that rabbit hole of YouTube, listening to him, and then I discovered Polyphia again, and then I just got hooked. They just sunk their teeth right into me. I still got the scars.
Pliny's so good.
He's so good. So that's how I discovered and rediscovered Polyphia. And why do I like them? I like them because they're unique, and musicianship across the board is just it's just mind blowing. Like in my opinion, it's second to none. Like I probably some of the best musicians I've ever heard. Um, Very catchy. Some stuff is just really heavy. I love the heavy stuff that they've written. But I also love all the other stuff that they've pulled together to make their own sound, but also push that envelope.
No.
Not to be restricted to one thing. And they've even said this. They didn't want to fall into that. They wanted to keep growing and becoming more and doing as much as they can. Yeah, they're very fun. Inspiring for sure, and frustrating at the same time. I want to be a better musician overall because of them.
Yeah.
So
I would say too, Nick, we got to get to you, but let me say this first. There's something.
It's one of my favorite pop culture references of all time.
What?
I'm gonna let you finish, but
Oh
I
yeah,
just gotta say.
There's a big difference between like being a talent, like a skilled musician, and like a talented musician. Like they're very skilled, technically amazing guitar players, can play anything, like shred with the best of them. But what makes them talented, and I think what makes Polyphia really stand out above everything else, they are amazing songwriters and composers. So, like, yeah, a lot of their songs, they have the like flying guitar solos, the like the shredding, like playing so fast that like smoke is coming off the fretboard. But it's over top of this amazing bed of music that they've arranged, and they also intertwine and weave in these just I don't I simple is the wrong word, but it's the only word I can think of right now, but these simple melody lines that are just so catchy and you can't help but sing them. And it that takes a lot of talent, and it's not just skill. What's up, Chloe? But yes, go ahead, Nick.
Oh, no, yeah, I like what you were saying there. Because yeah, I mean, you have tons of technically amazing, talented people out there that can play any instrument, like to to 11, right, all the way. But what makes like an artist or a band like exceptional is when they can compose and arrange and make things catchy. And that's exactly kind of what. So I read an article about from Steve Vai's like experience going through playing God. Is that one? Yeah,
Ego Death.
Ego Death. Yeah, that one. Um, this is foreshadowing how I'm going to do in in the game later. He recorded his part. I don't know if it was like separately, but the point was is he recorded his guitar, I guess vocals, right? Um, and they rearranged it, right, in the final output of the song. And I think that's important because these old these old guitarists have passed. Not that like there's anything wrong with that, but that is one thing where older music played right into that. Like they had these amazing like guitar solos or whatever it might be, drum solos that was the whole point of that segment of the song. Whereas like what they do is they take those same concepts, we're like, yeah, but let's like layer in an actual song around it. So it's not just because I remember my mom would be like, oh yeah, this song, like it's good until this ridiculous like solo that's just like screeching your ear. I'm like, yeah, like I get it. So those kind of concepts, and like that's what really makes them like this modern spin on this stuff because they get this layer, this complexity that I don't know is necessarily a younger generational thing, but like I think we've had enough time to like melt with all sorts of different types of music and hear all these different things that have been tried over the past 40, 50, 60 years, and you know they push the envelope definitely.
Yeah.
How I first heard of them, I'm pretty sure Mike told me to listen to them, and I think it was New Levels, New Devils was the album where I kind of got introduced to them with, and then I obviously went backwards and then have kept up with them since. And I have this weird, the way I listen to music is it's not often that like the first album that catches me, right? That like makes me a fan of someone isn't my favorite. Like the album that makes me the fan of them is usually the earliest or the first one I hear and the best one in my opinion. So when I was thinking about like what are my favorite albums by then, this happens to me with almost every artist. It's like it's usually going to be the first one and the one that like made me a fan. So I don't know how that plays out, but yeah.
I was really interested to hear what drew you into Polyphia, because your musical taste is a very wide array of music, but you kind of your like home base of music is rap. So I was like, when I first told you about them, I was actually pretty surprised that you're like, oh yeah, they're pretty sweet. I was like, I was not expecting that. But yeah, it's interesting to like, is there any more depth to like what really drew you into their music?
Yeah, I like anything that is complex and abrasive, right? So you know, I've played like Polyphia on the back deck on like a nice evening or day, or even like for a cookout, like leading up to a cookout. And at some point, like the wife's like, "All right, we need to change this," right? So like that's a sign to me usually where I like things like that. Like I like metal. I like very intense vocals at times if done right because I like things that are abrasive. And I even like, and that's a lot of times that's why I like rap the way I do because it's abrasive. It's also complex. It steals and uses things from many different genres, and there's lots of layers to it that way. The same way that Polyphia does a lot of layers to what they're doing in any given moment of a song. So usually a lot of like nuanced complexity and or references is what gets it there. So the more abrasive it is for like the average listener, the more I'm gonna like it. That's usually my draw in for sure.
Yeah. So a fun fact about Polyphia, after their album Renaissance, I believe Tim actually moved to California to work with some other producers that did a lot of hip hop and rap to kind of get a different, just to expand his, his musicianship and all that sort of stuff, which I think is really cool. Like he's trying to absorb as much as he can because he wants to be the greatest. Yeah. He wants to keep coming up with new stuff. And how do you do that? You learn about other genres. You push
it's funny
yourself.
you say that because the album immediately after Renaissance was their tonal shift in music.
Yeah, exactly.
I believe I don't know if Clay was their drummer on Renaissance. I know
he was.
They had a different drummer at some point.
It must have
been like very early on.
It was in
Muse,
yeah.
But yeah, The Most Hated that's the album after Renaissance. That is where we get the trap drum beats.
40 ounce.
Yeah, 40 ounce, great song. Goose, great song.
Oh,
but that album, I mean, that's the start of that's really what shot them up, in my opinion, is um, that shift from just your traditional instrumental. I said it right there,
That's
instrumental
awesome.
metal. Um,
Yeah.
because honestly, well, we'll get into it. But yeah, from the most hated forward, they created a sound that was unlike anything that existed.
Yeah. So
And
go ahead.
but you talk about like I wonder who all he's worked with or like studied under, if you will, because some of my favorite like people in music aren't necessarily like artists per se. So like I love Mike Dean, Rick Rubin, right? Like characters like that who they are naturally like composers, producers of music. So like, if you look at the range of people that like either of them have worked with, particularly Rick Rubin, it's quite impressive. And anything that man touches is like this very prolific like album. And in my mind, most of the albums he touches across a variety of genres is like the better album done by that artist.
Yeah.
So, and that's what people like that do. They curate sounds, not necessarily like music or songs or anything like that. They curate sounds and ideas, and they share that with people, and people go to them to get those sort of ideas. And those are some of my favorite people. And they don't necessarily like they're not artists, right? That or they are, but they're not on the Billboard 100. Like it's not like by Mike Dean or by Rick Rubin kind of thing. So
Yeah, but you look in like the song credits for like
everywhere.
90% of the top songs, it's like, oh, yeah, Rick Rubin, Rick Rubin, Rick Rubin.
Yep.
So yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about for sure.
So since you mentioned that in Remember That You Will Die, they obviously produced their own stuff. I mean, they did the work themselves. So they also worked with Rodney Jerkins, who did a lot of work for Michael Jackson, Destiny's Child, Lady Gaga, Judge, who worked with Migos and Marshmello, Black Bear, Young Thug,
Thugger,
and then Y2K,
Free Jeffrey.
and John Lennox, Johan Lennox, sorry. So, I mean, that's a lot of people that have their hands in your creation. Like that takes a lot of trust, and like you got to have good relationship with these people. Because that's a piece of you, right? Like I know how I am with writing music. Like it's if I have an idea or like a destination of what I want a song to be, I'm very careful who I collaborate with because I don't want it to be something that it shouldn't be. You know?
Yeah, that's a cool point you make because I guess it comes from your stance, right? Like obviously there's some artists that have a lot of ownership over things. So you take for example like Childish Gambino or Tyler the Creator, they will 100% do every part of their album, right? They've done that, right? And that's a certain creative set that they take ownership over. Whereas like other people very much thrive in the sense that they have these very technical gifted ideas and they rely on other people to curate them into better ones.
Right.
And I think that's like it's a talent. It's like knowing your own limits. So like if you're kind of like selfish in the sense that you are like, no, this is my music, like this is how I want it to be, like yeah, if that's the art you want to create, that's fine. But like depends on what your objective is. Like, do you want to let people in and potentially make it better? It doesn't.
Right.
That's not always the case. So it's like knowing your limits.
And I think that they are better for it because they have an open mind and they want to stay fresh and relevant, because obviously music's going to change. They've changed like crazy over the years. But that's what they've wanted. Like they wanted to be able to adapt, but also push themselves to be better. musically and just be on top of it, you know.
I wouldn't even say adapt because they're at the forefront of this genre of music.
Oh yeah.
They're blazing the trail and setting the trends, which is amazing in and of itself, because what they did with The Most Hated was amazing. They could have just kept doing that, but then they took it up a new level on New Levels, New Devils. And that album blew my mind. And then
Yeah.
the new one, Remember That You'll Die, completely different. Like, so different.
Yeah.
And they don't have to do that. They could, the formula for The Most Hated, they could have just rolled with that into the sunset, and I would have been satisfied, happy. I mean, I still am satisfied and happy, but
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're forcing music, or no, I shouldn't say music, because we'll get into that later probably too. But I think
Will we?
they're going to be the target that other like bands and artists are going to try to adapt.
They
to.
already are, to some degree. Like, there are people trying, like, I see YouTube videos, shorts, whatever, of people playing their stuff. That's the bar that's been set, you know. So we keep saying they. I'd like to get into who makes up the band, because they are all amazing musicians and they all bring something unique and amazing to the table and make Polyphia what it is. So obviously,
except their bass player.
What?
No, bass player is just no. I'm messing.
No,
I'll
shut you down right now. And I'm not like.
Wait, I thought it was Tim Henson and like it's just the same other guy like playing 3 instruments.
Just Nick, that's so racist. Just because they're white and have long hair does not mean they're the same person. Okay.
Oh, my bad.
All right.
Gosh.
So obviously,
I gotta adjust myself. In the couch, not okay. I'm just. Okay, yeah.
So we've got Tim Henson.
Gosh, avalanche of pillows.
I really want to see that. Got Scott LePage.
He's French.
Clay Gobber. I don't know how to say his last name. Gobber.
That can't be his last name.
It is. And then we've got Goober.
Love it.
And then Clay Ashleman.
Wait, did you say Clay twice? There's 2 Clays.
I did. There's 2 Clays.
Bass and
You
drums.
cannot hate on me for saying the other 3 are just like
the same person.
Oh, Clay and Clay. Like, which Clay we talking about?
Goober is not the drummer. He's the bassist, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, he looks like a goober.
Yeah.
So do the other 2.
So Clay Ashleman is the drummer.
Amazing.
Scott LePage is a guitarist, and Tim is like also a guitarist. Which, the way that it broke it down was Tim is the lead guitarist and Scotty is more of the rhythm, but they both do so many cool things.
Their rhythm is like the most insane lead guitarist ever.
It really is. But he like incorporates rhythm and lead at the same time.
Yeah.
Like I've watched a lot of their live stuff. Dude is phenomenal as well. Like, I think he gets a lot of, like, he's kind of in Tim's shadow a little bit.
Yeah.
But he is just as great from what I've seen. And it's funny because watching the live stuff, you get to see what they do, right? But you also get to see who plays what between the 2 guitarists. And like, there were certain parts where I'm like, oh, that's obviously all Tim, but then it's actually Scott playing it.
Yeah. They seamlessly transition in the middle of songs. Like, so amazing.
It's so amazing. I don't know if you guys got a chance to watch that live video that I sent you, but it's so great and so well mixed. You can
Yeah.
hear everything. It's clean. You can hear the bassist, and that's one thing that I want to shout out. You got to hear the bass. The bass is like, especially the way that the Clays play together. Like
Because they're the same person.
they're the same person, right? But they're like boom together, like
Oh, yeah.
like as a rhythm person, like a drummer and more percussive. That's everything.
Yeah.
It's so good. And Mike, I know you understand by playing bass, like it's and especially the way that Clay plays the bass.
Yeah. I feel like even he's overshadowed by Scott and Tim because, again, one of my favorite aspects of or techniques that Scott and Tim use a lot. They're very percussive guitarists. Like
Yes.
they use a mix of traditional guitar pick, finger picking, and like slap guitar. So if you're, I don't know, if you're not a musician or whatever, maybe you don't know what slap bass is, but essentially you're just slapping the bass strings, typically with your thumb, to get a very like poppy, twangy type sound with the bass strings.
Yes.
And there's slapping and then coupled with pulling the strings instead of like stroking the strings. They do that on guitar. And what that does, obviously, you get a completely different tone out of the strings. But what I really appreciate about it is it's very percussive and adds to the rhythm, the drum beat. And that's what makes slap bass so cool. But now they're doing that on guitar also. So everything in a lot of their newer stuff is very, very percussive. And the way everything is synced up between the drums, the bass, and the guitars, it's just a masterclass of like perfect blending of everything.
So I like, in comparison, like watching that live album and seeing how just in sync that they were, like obviously they've been playing for a while, but it looks like they grew up together and they just know each other. And like stage chemistry is a huge thing. Like you got to be able to, work together and understand where you're going. But like I watched another live video from like the Renaissance days when drummer Clay, and it was not as clean. I mean, it was amazing. It was very good, but it just wasn't as like tight knit as like the stuff now. Yeah, so good.
Dude, Clay. Okay. Tim is the focal point of the band. No denying that. He deserves it. He writes amazing songs, amazing guitar player. This band is not what it is without drummer Clay. The way that he fits in and accents the intricate guitar parts, like with ridiculously technical drum beats, but also the exquisite use of space in the drum beats. The lack of playing is a very, very like next level skill for any musician. Knowing when to utilize breaks and silence and not overplay. Something I wish more musicians understood. And he like totally gets it. And it makes what he actually plays when he plays so much more impactful because you're like, holy crap, that's amazing.
I think a great example of that is Goat.
Yes. Dude, there's a fill in Goat that makes me crap my pants every time I hear it, and I've listened to the song like 200 times.
Is it the one at the end?
Yeah, it's towards the end. It's amazing.
I love the part And one of the things that made me love them even more was that part with the Clays.
Mm.
Like it was just drums and bass in
Oh,
Goat.
yeah, it's so good.
Oh my goodness. And that made me appreciate the bassist Clay even more
Mhm.
because he's doing the slap and plucking at the same, like just killing it, man.
Yeah.
These guys deserve a lot of credit because they just work very well together.
Oh, yeah.
And they all have like something amazing to bring, and they do it very well.
You guys want to start ranking the albums?
Yeah. You got the stuff?
I don't know, Nick, do we have stuff?
What stuff? I don't have no stuff. I have their music like page portfolio.
So we're rocking no visuals on our tier ranking.
That's right.
I'm okay with that.
Nice.
They only got what, 6 albums?
Something like that. Let me
Yeah.
count here.
Inspire,
1,
Muse,
2.
Renaissance, The Most Hated, New Levels, New Devils, and Remember That You Will Die. Unless they have like a mixtape out there from
No,
like
yeah,
2010.
6, and then a couple like singles out there. Yeah, so when we originally thought of the idea of talking about Polyphia, which we've been sitting on this idea for months, we thought it'd be fun to rank their albums. Tier, we'll do it. Do we want to do a tier or like a power rank?
1 through 6.
1 through 6. Okay.
1 through 6. Okay.
So, I started my preparation for this week 2 days ago, and I straight up just listened to all 6 albums from track 1 to the last track straight through their discography. And what I did, I've already listened to these albums in their entirety like a million times. But what I did is I was doing this while I was working, which was amazing to be able to do this while working. And I noted down, I made a like top however many song list whenever a song came on that is a favorite song on the album, stands out to me for some reason, something in it is memorable or amazing or excellent. I'd write it down. And as I was going through, I was like, I still don't know how I'm going to rank these albums because looking at the songs I wrote down, my top Polyphia songs are almost spread out throughout all of their albums. So I was like, do I do like how many top songs on my Polyphia top song list per album would make that album the best, or just how many total songs I noted? So I don't know. What was your thought process, Jeff?
See, it's tricky for me too because like I have a favorite album, but some of my favorite songs are on different albums. So it's hard to balance that. Like you have Goat from New Levels, New Devils, but that's not my favorite album. Like it's growing. My love for it is growing the more I listen to it. I don't know. Like I would say more like, can you get through one of the albums like all the way from beginning to end without skipping more so than the others? Like that was kind of my thinking. But I don't know. Like you could also do.
That's usually how I rank things, is like what has more skips than the other. But
right.
But standout songs also carry a lot of weight.
Yeah.
But sometimes though, I do filter out like the idea of like single or like my favorite songs from like the composition of the album.
Yeah,
because
good.
like just because like overall your albums, I have like my top 5 songs. Those top 5 songs all have to be inclusive of my favorite album, because that favorite album could have no skips. That's different than like having 3 favorite songs from one album. There might
Yeah.
be this other album that's like 0 skips.
That's true. Yeah, overall quality of all the songs on the album, big factor.
Yeah.
With Polyphia, so I really appreciate, like you're saying, Nick, a very well composed album in terms of like structure musically and lyrically and conceptually. Like if they're trying to do something as a narrative through an entire album, which is not impossible to do, but a little harder to do when it's instrumental with no lyrics, right? I do have an absolute favorite album, completely different genre of music. Album's called Dear Wormwood by a band called the Oh Hellos. The concept, fantastic. The way that they pick the order of the songs on the album, the way the dynamics flow from song to song, the way the lyrics tell a story through each song through the entire album is just fantastic. It's probably my favorite album ever, maybe. But like I don't have that with Polyphia because it's completely different genre and they're doing different things. So yeah, I think as we've talked through this a little bit, it's helped me kind of narrow down, I think, my ranking. Yeah, I don't know.
Should we go from bottom to top?
I like that. It's more suspenseful. Save the best for last.
It's tough because, like we've talked about, it's like their sound has evolved.
Mhm.
Like they are not where they started, not even close.
No.
And like their earlier stuff is like the metalhead in me from back early in the 2000s is like screaming because I love it so much. But now that's not what really, it doesn't resonate as much as it would have back then if I would have listened to them then.
Yeah.
So sadly, they're at the bottom.
I gotta adjust the pillow for it. This time I'll do it on camera. I'm sinking into the couch here.
Nice.
There we go.
Well done.
Thank you. So can I just take a stab at something?
Yeah.
I'm going to throw out, I guess I'll start with my recommendation for number 6 on the Polyphia album ranking. And I'm going to nominate Inspire as number 6. And my notes, I had 0 songs noted from this album. And nothing really impressed me. Like, I wrote down very generic, very generic, instrumental, and honestly forgettable.
Which is sad to say because we both played metal and that stuff is just crazy good, like, but I get what you're saying. It's just,
yeah, nothing about it stood out, and it sounded like every other instrumental band
at the time.
And yes, I'm saying instrumental and not instrumental. That's on purpose. Yeah, it's just generic.
I am okay with that. That can be a 6 for me as well.
What say you, Nick?
You're saying their first album is their worst album?
Yeah, Inspire. Should be more like in Trasher. No, I'm just kidding. It's not trash.
It's not trash.
It's not Polyphia.
It's their most
hated album.
So as far as like
with the most hated.
So I would say that their newest stuff is very mature. Like they've matured as musicians, musically, everything. not saying that it was bad, but I feel like this was very early on. I mean, they knew what they were going for, and they executed it well. But in the scope of all 6 albums, like you said, it's just not Polyphia. Like, it's not the Polyphia we know now. Like,
Yeah. One thing that really stood out to me, honestly, was the engineering aspect of the album. There were I can't remember the exact track off the top of my head, but this kind of was a theme throughout some of the earlier stuff, having piano parts playing
yeah,
during songs. There's one song on Inspire though, where the piano part through the entire song is the same volume level, but when that piano part was no longer the featured part of that section of the song, when they started doing the gent chugga chuggas and doing their leads, that piano part was still the same volume and really detracted from what they were trying to do on guitar, and
yeah,
almost they competed. There were clashing melodies and notes, and that's just a mixing thing. Like, you can just
right.
cut that section, turn it down, set it under the guitar work, and then when that part is featured again, rise the volume up, and there you go. You got your seamless transition, but it's really been there the whole time, so you don't lose that soundscape, and it's still full. But little things like that are very clearly polished now were not polished back then, which is
Yeah.
understandable. It's their first EP or album, whatever you want to call it. So it's in a way, it's kind of cool because you can see the growth.
Yeah, I agree. It definitely sounded. There were parts that just sounded like a wall of sound, like
Yeah.
nothing really cutting through. Like, you could tell that they wanted something to cut through, but it just wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
It was very good. I mean, they like, just looking at it musically, I obviously can't play any of that, but very good. Like, it was a fun listen. But like you said, it just didn't hook me like the
I
other
feel
albums
bad
did.
saying that because I remember, was it last night? I don't know. I've been falling asleep very early this week. But one morning I woke up and I was like, I saw a message. You're like, guys, listen to Inspire. It's so good. And then I just pooped on it. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Totally fine. Whatever. All right. Next, I'm going to take a stab at the next at number 5. My vote is Muse. Although one of my favorite songs is on this album, but not because of the song that's on the album. It's when they did it live. And that's Champagne.
Yeah.
Such a catchy melody, a hook. And this is actually something I think that Scott wrote, like that beginning riff.
No. It does sound like
man.
something Scott would write.
It's so
I say
good,
that like
dude.
I know the guy.
Right, you know.
Yeah, Scott would totally write that.
Yeah, he told me.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not here to say otherwise, so yeah.
Yeah, just say anything with confidence. That's what I've learned.
That's right. How do you feel about that, Nick?
About Muse being down there?
Yeah.
I agree that Muse is certainly 5.
So,
guys,
a fun fact about Muse: this was an Indiegogo project. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
It was funded by Indiegogo.
That's kind of awesome, actually.
It is.
I would disagree with this. I would place this personally at 4.
Okay.
I could see why you guys might put it at 5. But for me, I would have this at 4, and I'd have Renaissance at 5.
Mm-mm.
I only have 2 songs listed on Renaissance with 2 honorable mentions, and I have 4 definite songs from Muse that are like favorite songs of mine. Champagne, honestly, probably a top 3 song for me. One of the first songs I heard by Polyphia that made me fall in love with them. That the riff is so memorable, and what you're talking about, Jeff, is in their live show, they stop in the middle of it,
Yeah.
and the crowd just sings the riff because it is probably the catchiest guitar riff I've ever heard in my life.
Mhm.
And anytime this song comes on, it's just like I drop what I'm doing, I'm immediately hyped, and I'm like singing the guitar.
I have it in my head all the time.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's a great song. James Franco, great song. Aviator, great song, featuring another prominent YouTube guitarist, Jason Richardson. If you've
Mhm.
never heard of him, check him out. That dude can shred. And then Finale is an amazing song too. But I think, I mean, Champagne might merit just on its back number 4 rank, but I could see why you'd put it at 5. Renaissance is pretty good. Would that be your guys' number 4?
Renaissance? No.
Whoa, we're gonna have a fight.
Personally, it's been my top since I got into listening to them. Like, that's the album that I can listen to from beginning to end.
Interesting.
And I think that's because it's more melodic. a lot of these riffs just really resonate with, like, it's a good middle ground between the heavier stuff that I liked and the very technical stuff. Like, and this is before they got into the different sounding. This is where, like, before they started to evolve their sound. So this was very much just them before the extra. Nothing wrong with the extra, like the extra producers and the other voices coming in. This was very much, I don't know. This album for me is my favorite.
What songs from Renaissance stick out for you?
I love Nightmare.
My favorite off the album.
Bittersweet. I like Crush just because it's fun.
I have that one down too.
And the last one is it Euphoria?
Better be, because that's my number 2 track from that album. I also have Crush and Light are my honorable mentions on that one.
Light's fun.
Nightmare and Euphoria by far top tracks, like,
and
amazing.
So, and Nightmare is just so much fun to watch because they're playing a freaking 8-string guitar, like, all over the fingerboard, slapping, plucking. I think it's an 8-string guitar. But, like, when you see those, you're like expecting the heaviest, like,
super heavy,
melt your face off type riffs, but they're playing the prettiest stuff. Like, it's so melodic. And that's why I love this album. There's so much melodic tones. It's just, oh, it's beautiful.
Another extremely singable song too.
So that, I mean, it doesn't have to be on number 1. That's just personally for me. That's at my heart.
Yeah, I would literally fight you if you try to put that as number 1. But I'm okay with Muse being number 4, I suppose, since I'm the minority here.
You mean 5?
That's what I meant. I mean, I'd be great with it being 4, but I'm okay with it being 5.
And then Renaissance 4.
That's personally what I would have, but what do you say, Nick? What are your feelings about Renaissance? We know Jeff is like top shelf. I'm bottom shelf. So where do you sit?
Right in the middle.
Shelf. Bottom shelf. Yeah, so Renaissance Renaissance. Mike, you're saying 4.
I am saying 4, yeah.
Dad says number 1.
Yeah.
I think Renaissance belongs on 2.
Yes.
Or 3. I'm like, Renaissance is like right here.
The only thing I could only go 3 is the highest.
I couldn't.
So that would make the most hated 4.
Yes. I think that's accurate.
Yeah, I'd probably agree with that.
Okay.
But first, Nick, let's talk more about Renaissance. Since we're doing Jeff dirty, putting it at 3.
But are we doing you dirty putting it at 3?
That's fair.
No, we're doing Jeff dirty.
That's 2 spots either way from Mike to me.
Mike, what you want Renaissance at?
I would put Renaissance personally at 5. So that is like right in the middle of me and Jeff. So I would flip. I would put Muse at 4 and Renaissance at 5. So where you stuck it is, like Jeff said, right in the middle, which I think is fair.
Yeah.
But what about Renaissance makes it more top shelf than bottom shelf for you?
Which I'm really surprised that you put it bottom. Go ahead.
I think Renaissance has one of the most cohesive structures, compositions from beginning to end, right? Because it's super on brand for itself. Like the whole thing is kind of very in line with what it sets out to do. So I feel like each song is also very, especially the ones we talked about. And I would even throw like symmetry in there. That was another one that I picked out. They're all just very, like you guys said, melodic, but like whole songs to me. Like, and also that album is one of their longer albums, and for them to go to that length and execute like that sound they were going for in one long, 12 songs, I think that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And it isn't. It's also one of the last ones before they, like you said earlier, Mike, did a total shift. So to me, it's like the best version of
their old self. Yeah.
It's the best version of that, which I think it's still super. Like I really like to appreciate that, but that's also why I don't like inspiring music that much, because to me they're just like lesser, already done versions of like what Inspire was like. They're kind of like gold star for that. If they were to be that forever, right? They reached that point. They did their best, and then they evolved. And it's like that's why I feel like Renaissance is like a very nice album, because it's like we talk about Polyphia 10 years from now, and they got like 10 more albums. It's like go listen to their old stuff, but like maybe that's a lot. So which album from their old stuff should you go listen to? I would say Renaissance for that like complete package of V1 Polyphia.
I 100% agree. Like, because like with the last 2 albums we have, there's their style is kind of like not all over the place, but just
their albums are arranged by somebody who had ADD. Well, I wouldn't even say arranged. When they picked the batch of songs for the album or wrote the batch of songs for the album, they all had musical ADD.
Yeah. Well, and that's like to Nick's point, Renaissance, it's consistent.
I think it's the least ADD of them all.
That's what I was going to say while you were talking. What surprised me, because I kind of disagree with what you said about Muse. For me, I thought before looking at Spotify and the order of their discography, I thought Renaissance was their first album. I didn't even realize Inspire was a thing. But I thought Renaissance was their first album, and then Muse was before the Most Hated because, in my opinion, Muse almost sounds like they're at the beginning of that tonal shift. Because of Renaissance, like you guys said, the consistency of the sound of Renaissance, of the style of song that is each track. It's the least Polyphia ADD arranged album. I was really shocked that came after Muse and before the Most Hated. I did not see that coming at all.
It's kind of odd. Like it's for it is their version of Jay-Z's Magna Carta Holy Grail and Kanye's My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, in my opinion, because those are like very polished, continuous albums that like set out to hit a tone and like they reach that. And I get what you're saying too, Mike, because like the order of events is how you would think it would have unfolded. Like you think they would have shifted from like this polished sound, and then they start experimenting. And I feel like they did Inspire, whatever. They experimented with some stuff. They weren't ready for that. They went back and like put the capstone on that old stuff, and then they moved on into like the Most Hated.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you guys would put the Most Hated as 4?
Well, technically, it should be number 6 because it's the most hated.
Funny.
Yeah. Plus, it's not even a full freaking album.
How many songs is it?
I think it's 6.
6?
EP to start, and it's 6
Yeah.
songs.
Okay,
Yeah.
so if we're going, if I'm using the metric of quality songs, this technically should be number 1 because I have 4 songs written down as noteworthy songs out of the 6, which is a very high percentage. I can live with this being 4, but 40 ounce.
No, that's good.
Top.
Goose.
Top song. Goose.
Goose is one of my favorite songs.
Amazing. Iconic. Amazing. Loud. Amazing. But 40 ounce and Goose. Honestly, I thought so. I don't even know how to describe this. How do I get this out of my brain? I just unlike every other band I listen to when I listen to Polyphia, it's track based and not album based. Mainly because their sound is so varied. I'll just like put it on shuffle or whatever. So I thought 40 ounce and Goose were on New Levels, New Devils.
Same.
So I don't know what to do with that information, but they aren't. But I would say out of the 3 remaining albums, the Most Hated, while overall quality of songs to me, like what made these songs noteworthy, had the most in ratio to total songs on the album. The other 2 albums I think are stronger. So I'm okay with this being 4. But what did you guys? Yeah, what did you guys think about the Most Hated?
I found Goose before I knew about the Most Hated. I wouldn't say I thought it belonged on New Levels, New Devils. I don't know why it's so hard to say that. I wasn't blown away by it. Like, and that's probably because I haven't listened to it enough. Probably because I spent most of my time listening to Renaissance. But I don't know. It didn't.
The information that Mike just gave me would, and particularly he made a very good point. I thought half the songs on the Most Hated were around New Levels, New Devils, and I thought I liked New Levels, New Devils way more than I did. I still do, but that being said, I could live with like the most hated being above Renaissance, or in and around it.
Well, it's definitely going to be around it. I don't know if it's going to be in it because that would be a weird ranking.
There you go.
But this is why I had the most hated above Renaissance, because stylistically you can hear influences obviously from Renaissance, but you start to hear that shift into New Levels, New Devils.
Yeah.
But I'm okay with it being 4, and I'm honestly super excited to talk about the final 2 albums here. So
But look, all we have to do is shift most hated Renaissance down, and it's just in order of release.
Yeah.
No, I'm cool with Renaissance being 3. It is a good album. But the most hated is pretty solid too.
Oh my goodness.
How funny would it be if we do just rank them in order of release?
New Levels and New Devils is not 4.
Definitely not 4.
You need to switch the most hated and New Levels, New Devils.
Okay,
just my opinion.
I'm most hated should be 4. Let's dissect these 2 albums before we rank them, okay? Because I think that's going to help us determine which deserves number 2, which deserves number 1. I probably have the most opinions about both of these, so I will go last. I am very curious to hear, Nick, your thoughts on New Levels, New Devils, what you liked, what stood out, and what made you like these tracks in this album.
First off, do I still sound like a robot?
Yes.
So unfortunate.
So you still sound like a robot anyways.
Well, I can't speak if I sound like a robot.
There you go. Now you're back to human, Nick. Can I say I said this in our private chat, but I'll say it on air. It's very weird hearing robot Nick, but also like the delay and muffled human Nick, since you're like 3 feet away from me.
More than 3 feet, but yeah. New Levels, New Devils. Obviously has some like very standout like songs, such as like OD and Goat, right? Those are up there, right? Those are very much single like songs. I think it was I like this album. One, because it was like the first one I listened to, so there's always a little bit of like nostalgia trip with that. It's like that first kind of like exposure to this sound. Though I think as I explore the rest of their discography, it doesn't quite hold up, I guess, composition wise, because like you said, Mike, it's a little bit of ADD. Like this one is kind of all over the place, and it doesn't have like the pick of the litter when it comes to like my favorite songs. If I were to make like a top 10 playlist, it's not overly present as much as like someone might think.
All right, let's getting a drink. Good. Fair answer. What songs outside of Goat and OD stood out to you? Any?
I do like Yas. Yas is good.
That's a fun video too,
dude. Probably their best music video. I love it.
Yas is good.
It is. Wait, is Jason Richardson also that person you referenced from the other
Yep.
album?
He's on
Yep.
the track Nasty.
Nasty.
He's on Nasty. I think Bad is good. I like Bad. Bad is
I
good.
love Bad.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's got. And I think that's just me needing to be more familiar with like their entire discography because I'm still like learning the names of like the songs.
Right?
But I also think a lot of times like they do reuse melodies or maybe it's more techniques in songs. So like sometimes they do sound familiar between them,
Mhm.
to where it's like very slight shifts
Yeah.
in like what makes the songs different.
I will say the song off of Remember That You'll Die, I think it's Reverie, that has a part that is like maybe 3 notes different than a melody from a very early track. And
Yeah.
I can't pinpoint what track it is,
Oh yeah.
but every time I hear that thing from Reverie, I'm like, they just took like 2 notes out of that guitar line. And they probably didn't. Maybe they did, but it very much sounds like that old or that older song. But yeah, what do you think, Jeff?
Oh boy. So there a lot of the same songs that Nick mentioned. I freaking love Bad. That one was other than Goat, obviously Goat. Bad really because there's just something about the sound in some of these like Nasty and Bad and Goat, like darker darker sound, darker tones. Just really awesome. Like just something about them. I do like Yas. That's a fun one.
That music video, when Clay's playing like single pieces of the drum set,
It's awesome.
love it.
And they're just having fun. That's what I love about these guys. They have fun and with what they do. Like watching them live, dude, they're just a blast. I would love to see them live. My birthday's coming up, so I mean, if you want to do something nice for me, just saying. No, this album has actually grown on me a lot. Like I love Renaissance, but like Polyphia is like the gift that keeps on giving. Like the more you like dive into them, sounds really weird to say, but the more like it just grows on you, and like other things start to like stick out, and you're like, oh wow, I didn't notice that before. It's like a good show that you got to watch again because there's so much in it that you didn't catch the first. Yeah, exactly, layers. And they have done a very good job with the layering. Over time, they've gotten better, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, this album is great. It's not my favorite, but there's a lot of my favorite songs are on this album.
Yeah. So I don't know how you guys listen to music, but I'm pretty sure I listen to music like a psychopath. So you probably don't listen to music like this. But since I'm so fascinated with songwriting and I like writing music, a lot of times after like an initial listen of the song, when I'm re-listening, and I re-listen a lot to stuff I like, each time a song comes back on, I like zone in on specific things. Like maybe one day I'm like, oh, the one guitar sounds really cool, and I'll try to pay attention to just that guitar and see what it's doing, and then I try to dissect it, and I'm like, okay, so why did they try to put this melody at this part of the song when the dynamics are like this, and what does that do coupled with the other guitar that's playing this, or why is Clay choosing to play that pattern on the hi-hat at this part, and the way he accents like certain like raking or percussion that they're doing with slap guitar. Like, I really look into the details because that stuff fascinates me. And then I feel like as a songwriter, it helps me in the future when I'm trying to compose my own songs. I try to be very intentional about what parts I'm playing when, what tones I'm using when, like what effects, what I try to accomplish with certain things musically to elicit certain feelings or emotions, or to try to get certain points across in music anyways. So I listen to music like a psychopath. And to your point, Jeff, what makes Polyphia so great and what makes you appreciate them more the more you listen to them is there's like a trillion layers to their songs, and something new. Even as someone who's listened to Polyphia for years now, as I was doing my research for this episode, I'm noticing new things in these songs, and I've heard these songs like hundreds of times. It just goes, it's like a great testament to their songwriting abilities and craftsmanship when they're arranging and composing these songs. So I just wanted to get that out there. But here with, I feel super weird holding my microphone, by the way. So I don't know if it looks weird, but it feels weird.
It was funny earlier because you had to take a drink of water, but that was like a big task for you because like you couldn't speak at all. You had to like find your mic.
You're like, which one do I drink?
Yeah. But yeah. So with these final two albums here, you really start to see them leaning into features, which I think plays a lot into Nick's typical choice of music. Rap usually laden with tons of features, which is kind of cool that they're taking that approach. Which with this with guitar centric instrumental music, it makes itself available for that, but it's not necessarily a normal thing.
I hate their songs that feature vocals.
Not a fan of the vocal features.
No.
New Levels, New Devils has some amazing, I call it YouTube guitarists on this album. I'm sure that they're more than YouTube guitarists, but Jason Richardson makes an appearance again on Nasty. An amazing dude named Ichika Nito on Death Note. Amazing guitarist, dude. He has, oh my gosh, he has the most ridiculous videos where he plays 1 or 2 minute riffs or whatever in super weird tunings, and it's just beautiful. Look him up, Ichika Nito.
Mm-hmm.
Mattias Asado, he's on Drown, another YouTube guitarist. Mario Camarena and Eric Hansel, they're the features on Yas. They're the guitarists from a band named Chan, which if you've never heard of Chan, you should listen to them. Another great instrumental band, guitar centric. Dude, their guitar parts on Yas are like so slick. They're so clean and just blend in perfectly. And then another great feature, Yvette Young. She's on Rich Kids. She's the guitarist of Covet, which is a really good. I can't remember if she sings or not. I think she might sing, but she's a tremendous guitarist. But yeah, Goat, amazing song. OD, an amazing song. Yas. It really is up there with Goat, competes for that top song on this album. Saucy is another one of my favorite songs off this album, and So Strange is a good one too.
The cool thing about this album,
so
they're all good. The good thing about this album, and even Remember That You Will Die, is that there's something for everyone, which I've come to really discover, because they're pulling from different genres and just trying to blend everything as much as they can. Literally something for everyone.
Yeah.
Like I may not like something that Nick likes, and whatever, they've got 9 other tracks on the album.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like this is really where drummer Clay evolved. Like he just straight up turned into an entirely new musical like Godzilla monster behind the drum kit.
He is great on this album.
I cannot stress enough the way that he accents some of these riffs with his cymbal work.
Yeah.
What he does on these cymbals is literally not human. Like
It's not. Watching him play live is
no,
outrageous.
It's crazy.
But the cool thing about him, and like I was showing my dad, I
Shout
think it
out
was
Kurt.
I was showing him Goat, and because he likes to watch certain drummers.
Man, I wish I could have been there and watched him listen to Goat. That would have been amazing.
He was blown away by Clay, because he loves to watch drummers that really enjoy playing, and you can tell Clay freaking loves to play. Like he has joy as a musician and like loves to do what he does, and it's evident. It's just he's just so much fun to watch.
You just described why I enjoy watching you play drums.
Aww.
But no, Clay is right up there with Jeff in terms of drummers that I could just watch play.
Oh, like
and
you can't put me in the same category.
No, he's just amazing.
Yeah, he's great.
So let's move on to Remember That You Will Die, their latest album. Again, riddled with features. I would say, to me,
too many.
I'm not as impressed with most of the features, though I think it has one of the most important features maybe in this style of music's history. And we can talk about that in a minute. But I want to hear, Nick, how do you feel about Remember That You Will Die?
Let's have it.
Well, this has simultaneously like the best and worst song by them all in one album, which is hard. I mean, I really like Genesis, Playing God. Neurotica is insanity.
So good.
Like, if that shows up in the shuffle, that gets picked out like immediately. I drag that thing all the way to the top. Shamira, that's like the last feature, right? That one,
the freaking
that feature works. Like, I'm happy with that, and it's more of that, hip hop element.
But you've got some metal in it.
Yeah.
And they're playing the freaking 7/8 string guitar. Oh my gosh, it's so good.
That song I just think was a really good execution of like how a feature should work on their songs versus ABC, which is like absolutely not how it should work.
You don't like K-pop with Polyphia? I'm not gonna lie, dude. I both simultaneously hate and love the vocals on that song.
That's the thing, is
it's strange.
I listen to it and I'm sitting there and I'm like, the vocals are catchy, they're great, but what's happening in the back, like it's like what you're talking about earlier, Mike. You have to listen to the separate elements of the song. You're like, the elements are all fantastic, but like if you were just to like just listen to it like as a whole song, like, especially if you're not paying attention to any one thing, it's just like chaos and it's just hurts my ears.
Like, I hate that I love that song.
Right.
But I love that song. I can't help it. Also, shout out
the music video is funny too.
Shout out to the vocalist, because she sings the ABCs so freaking fast.
Yeah.
Especially the last part of it. Like the last 5 letters.
Yeah, she
How's that work?
Yeah, spot on.
Yeah, it's out here auditioning for girlfriends.
bad Nick. This is a family-friendly show.
Is it?
No, I'm just waiting for him to throw something at me again.
Are we?
You know, you threw a pen, dude.
Yeah, where's my pen?
Give him back his pen.
All right. Dad, why do you like this album? Do you
All
like
right,
this album?
All right. So this was before I like really took a dive into it. It was probably weaker, not like 4, 5, or 6 week. But it's another album like with new levels, new devils that I have to listen to it more and more because there's so much going on.
I agree with you 1000% because before this week, I didn't like this album.
But like, so you love Ego Death.
I do.
I remember talking to you about it, and I was
I'm trying to podcast. Sorry.
I was pretty sure you were going to reach through the phone and choke me to death.
Yes.
Because
I was going to rename this to Dad Death.
Dad Death. The first half of the song, I love. And the thing with Polyphia, I feel like this album and the album before it, too many features. Too many. They're getting away from themselves, I feel like. And they're just like, dude, I don't know. Like it's hard to say. Like there's some stuff, like the lyrical stuff, I can't do it. They are an instrumental band. And I feel like
Copyright.
I feel like a lot of times vocals get in the way of what the musicians are trying to do. ABC is just a sloppy mess. Like if you take her out of it, some of these riffs are ridiculous and they're totally like covered up by Sophia.
I mean, the literal ABC riff. Is
Yeah.
like the most insane scale I've ever heard.
Yes. And like, I think I was watching like a short of Tim playing it and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's ridiculous. I don't know. That's just,
I still love that song. I can't. I hate that I keep saying that.
You're crazy. You're a crazy
But
person.
I have fallen in love with that song. It's so catchy.
It's
Yeah,
poppy.
it's right. It's all those things, but it's like too much.
Yeah.
It's a great it's like when Eminem does something like extra that is really a display of skill and technical abilities and like an idea is if you are a fan of what's going on there, it works.
Yeah.
But like to the general concept of like a song, it hurts. It's almost like, you know, it's like an exhibition piece, right? Where it's like let's show or display how we can do this really cool idea. Is that idea like the best execution of it? Not necessarily. But
Hi, Nick.
why you put my whole basement on blast, bro?
Just got a little behind the scenes action here.
Hey.
It's the making of Showboys podcast.
But we're live.
Lordy.
So, what are your top songs on this
so
album?
You don't like Ego Death?
Me?
We need to have a conversation about Ego Death. Right?
This is going to turn into like 2 more hours.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So I alluded to the most important feature in the history of this music, and this is the feature, Steve Vai. And let me just take a seat, guys. Sit down, relax, pretend I'm Casey or Tim talking about Star Wars, and just let me educate you guys on why this is possibly the most important feature in guitar-centric instrumental music. So Steve Vai, old school guitar legend from the 80s.
Boomer.
Yeah, exactly.
Boomer Benz.
Exactly. And that's what he does in this song.
He does,
But,
like the whole time.
But it's iconic. It's him. But you talk to any 40-year-old metalhead, they know.
I'm like a month away from being a 40-year-old freaking metalhead.
Okay, mid 40s.
It's 50s,
metalhead.
bro. It's just it's 50s. Mike, you're
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, you're right. Yeah. Okay. So 50-year-old metalhead. Sorry, it just feels weird that. Anyways,
Don't put me there.
if they're metal heads, they know, appreciate, and probably love Steve Vai as a guitarist. He did a lot of solo work. He was in like White Snake or something, like one of
10
those
bands.
hair metal bands. But this guy's a legend, right? This dude can shred, technical, like innovative in his time. And you have him, this boomer guitar legend, featured on the most iconic, up and coming, trend setting guitar centric band of today. And the way that they like blended these two parts together in this amazing song, it was really like it's kind of like Ego Death. The title plays into the feature itself, where Polyphia is kind of humbling themselves by putting this guitar legend in their song and letting him do his thing that he's like known for with these crazy boomer bends and stuff. But it's
kind of
also,
they rearranged it.
Yeah. But there's the thing.
Yeah.
It's also an ego death to Steve Vai, giving his material up to these new young like guitar to be legends, and letting them chop it up, edit it, mix it, and engineer it into the song, which I think is pretty fitting. But it's almost like a passing of the torch too, from Steve Vai to Polyphia, being like, okay, like
that was the image in the video.
Yeah,
for sure.
And all that stuff aside, musically, like Jeff said, obviously the first half, 2/3 of the song, straight amazing, like amazing. Like we talked about Scotty before. He has like a huge chunk in the middle of this song where he's just like, unless you saw the video, you probably thought Tim played this entire song, and he's just like shredding with the slapping, finger picking, like, and then he has like this amazing distorted lead, and it's so good. But the way they integrate Steve Vai's part into the song, what Clay does on drums, again, using that spacing, and the way Steve Vai is just soaring over top of the insane things that Tim and Scotty are doing. It's literally probably the best song they've ever written and composed, in my opinion.
Clay on bass too, right? Clay's the bass. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, the bass is like, I don't usually pay too much attention to like bass, because like to me, like I don't know technically enough to separate it from everything else. But like this, like it's in there, like very apparent when he's just like slapping on that big bass.
Boom, the boomstick. That's what I love about their albums, is like you can hear everything.
Yeah. The when Vi comes in at the end, like every time I get goosebumps and my eyes water. Like I almost tear up, and like that's gonna sound funny to a lot of people, but music, like good music,
You cry
has
every
that
time.
effect on me. I don't physically, tears are not rolling down my face, but like
You feel it.
it affects me
Oh, okay.
emotionally. Like it is so good. Um, but yeah, and Jeff thinks it sucks, and I don't understand why.
Um, I didn't like grow up listening to Steve Vai. Like he's not on my
Neither
list.
did
He's
we.
Same,
but like he's not even on my radar. Like
same.
I can appreciate his style, his yeah, his everything. Like I saw a video of him playing like a three-necked guitar, like there was a bass, two different guitars. I'm like I know that that's something that he does, I guess. But it's actually pretty cool. Like I can appreciate his technique and his style. I just wasn't like
But
it didn't
But the song sucks.
no, it doesn't suck at all. Just his part. I'm kidding. No.
Oh, but then at the end,
It's another no, hold
the
on.
trumpet comes in. It's like
I didn't make it that far.
nuh-uh. Yeah, you finished the album.
Did I? To be continued.
And see you guys in 80 episodes.
And fired. This is why we don't have a what's listening episode, because we no, I heard it. I heard the trumpets. They were actually
Mike's like crying. Like
They're
sorry.
actually-
I'm
My dad just,
physically
like,
hurting right now.
they're actually trombones.
Jeez.
I don't remember. It's not a song. I've listened to the whole thing, but it's not a song that I listened to all the way through.
Shame.
I know. I'm
Please just replay
Oh,
the
I
Game
feel
of
like it's one of
Thrones
those songs you
shame gif
have
over
to
him.
finish.
I
You have to finish it each time you hear it.
Yeah.
It's incomplete if you don't listen to the whole thing.
Exactly. See, Nick gets it, and he's not even a guitar player.
So you guys want to play a game?
Well, we got to finish ranking these. So, okay, so outside of Ego Death, Neurotica,
Yep.
maybe my second favorite song, and then Playing God and ABC tied for third, and Chimera number 4. Playing God was out as a single for like months and months and months before this album came out.
Yep.
Don't matter.
And blew my mind because, again, like what they always do, completely new sound. Like they have the like nylon stringed like electric guitars. I can't even call them acoustic.
Custom made guitars.
It's one of the best beginnings. It's the most noticeable beginning of all their songs. Maybe that's hard to say.
It's almost got that like flamenco like vibe to it, and then in the middle of the song, they just bust out like the most ridiculous jazzy chords like ever, and I'm like, this literally is the sickest song I've ever heard in my life.
But and then the part right before that where they're doing that lead, the melodic part, I'm like, oh man, that song is a lot of fun. And I remember when I first heard it, I'm like, what are these guys doing? They're just jumping all around like everything. But I'm like, it's so good.
And
it kind of has Renaissance undertones with like the most hated overtones. That's what like Playing God is in my mind.
Yeah. When I heard this song, because it was the first thing they put out from this album, I was so
in tears,
so excited for this album, like so excited, because this was such a different sound. I love those custom guitars, the tone they get out of that, and I was like, holy crap, I need more of this. And then when the album came out and it wasn't more of Playing God, I was like, what is this? I cannot no. And then I heard Ego Death and I was like crying. But then I was like, the rest of this album is garbage. What the heck? And then it's grown on me. But Neurotica is
Neurotica is probably
it's so good. That riff gets stuck in my head all the time. And when I talk about like the percussive guitar, this song is like the pinnacle of percussive guitar.
Yeah, I've got it stuck in my head now. So I actually really liked Genesis, but I like it better live. Like from that show that I sent you guys, the link on YouTube in Texas, they open like just about every set with Genesis. And it's, I don't know, it just hits hard in the beginning.
Genesis is fat.
So we have to rank these 1 and 2. Which album holds the number 2 spot on the Showboys Polyphia album ranking?
Remember That You Will Die.
Remember That You Will Die.
I'm okay with that, but I'm honestly a little surprised.
It does have one more song in my list that I like over New Levels.
Fuck around and find out.
Yeah.
I didn't put this on my list, but The Audacity is
a good
maybe
one.
my new favorite song. And a big portion of why is the just straight up like jazz tones that this song like it is so insane. And there's like a synth part that reminds me of the band Snarky Puppy, if anyone's heard of them. If not, you should check them out. They're an amazing instrumental, like I don't know how to describe them. Jazz fusion math rock. I don't know. They're like a 20-piece band and they're insane. They have an album called We Like It Here that I listen to very, very frequently, and it's amazing. And they have one song in particular called Lingus that has the most absurd synth keyboard solo I've ever heard in my life, and it's like 7 minutes long, the solo itself. Yeah, The Audacity creeping up there.
I mean, maybe it's New Levels, New Devils. I don't know. It's hard.
We've been thinking about this for like 20 minutes.
I can't tell you. If they would just take all their songs and put them into like the best of, then we'd probably be okay.
Yeah. That'd make this show pointless.
I'm sticking to my.
Yeah, that's fine.
Well, again, I'm in the minority, but I can deal.
Clearly, Mike knows more about this than we do, Jeff.
No,
So,
he doesn't.
He's
Very,
right.
very
Oh.
clearly.
If
Very
I
clearly.
can be okay with my favorite album
Yeah.
being
That'd be at number
Fair.
3.
three,
That's fair. Yeah,
Yeah.
quit your belly aching, Mike. Jeez.
I
at
said
least
I
your
was fine.
favorite album isn't number 3.
I disagreed, but I said I was fine because I can definitely see an argument for both of these for being the best album. I mean, I think these are probably the 2 strongest.
I personally, I think I need to listen to this album more
Yeah.
because I've given a lot of love to Renaissance, and behind that is New Levels, New Devils.
That's fair for me. So we have Remember That You Will Die is number 2, and the number 1 Polyphia album according to the Showboys podcast. New Levels, New Devils.
I always feel like I'm saying that wrong when I say it out loud. I don't know why.
Yeah. I don't know.
Cool.
Last note before we move into the little game you've prepared for us. There are 2 songs that are not on albums that are absolute must-listens that are either a Polyphia song or feature Tim Henson. The first one is a Polyphia song called Look But Don't Touch.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff, I feel like that's up your alley. It's pretty heavy. Features the 7-string. Very good. Very good. And then there is a track called Sunset. Features Tim Henson, Pliny,
Yeah.
and some random dude who barely plays anything on guitar, and I have no idea how he got on this song or why. But Sunset is such an amazing song, and
Yeah, it is.
you should definitely listen to it. The top comment on that song is hilarious and makes me cry of laughter every time I read it. And there's a section in the music video where Tim is sitting in an empty bathtub playing, and the comment is something something along the lines of like, "Oh, now we know why Tim always plays so clean," or something.
Yeah.
And the guy who made that comment, Sam Griffin, another amazing guitarist. He's a classically trained classical acoustic player. So there's a difference between traditional acoustic and classical acoustic. Classical acoustic use nylon strings, different playing techniques and stuff. He does a ridiculous video game
Yes,
covers
that's what I was looking for.
on classical guitar. Sam Griffin, and then he does a lot with another guy who I can't remember his name, but they go by the Super Guitar Bros on YouTube. Both of them amazing video game covers. The other guy of the Super Guitar Bros plays traditional acoustic, and Sam plays classical, and it's so good.
So what I was thinking of, I spoke too soon. It's called Upside Down. Jason Richardson and Luke Holland featuring Tim Henson. And it's at an arcade. It is, I mean, I just fast forwarded to Henson's part, but
Wow,
it's a good song.
Rude. Last thing I will mention that I recommend. Everyone's favorite YouTube guitarist to hate, Jared Dines, did a thing. I don't know if he does it anymore, but for 3 or 4 years, he did a massive guitar shred collab that featured like anywhere from like 12 to maybe 20 guitarists in one song. They're like 10, 15-minute long songs where each guitarist has a 20, 30-second section just doing ripping solos off, and they tie them all together, and it's amazing.
Doing what they do.
Yeah, if you just YouTube
You told me about
biggest
this.
guitar shred collab or Jared Dines guitar shred collab, Tim Henson's on at least one, but a lot of the guitarists that are featured on New Levels, New Devils are in those shred collab videos. So shout out.
Very
Go
good
watch it.
too.
Yeah. So
Cool.
what's next? Dad?
Let's play this game.
What game are we playing, sir?
It's called what's it called?
I don't know. Aggressively mediocre host.
That's what it's called.
Oh.
What's it called?
You know what? That's actually a great title.
I think.
What's it called?
Who's up first?
So the winner gets tickets to see Polyphia live.
Wow. Would you like to explain the game to our lovely audience?
What's going on? So yeah. So I'm gonna play a very, very short clip of a riff. Yeah. Kind of like how we were playing War Tales and you played Big Crit Energy and it was 2 seconds of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so less than 5 seconds about, and based on what you hear, I'll give you 3 options and you have to pick which one.
Oh, so it's like multiple choice.
Yes.
Shove her! Hurry! Shove!
What? I didn't do that.
Okay, so
So you want to do one just to like kind of get the gist of it, or you want to just dive
round
into
one.
it?
Let's just
dive
jump
into
right
it.
in.
All right, this is round one. Each.
So do we each give you an answer and you tell us which one's right, or first one?
You can each give me an answer,
Okay,
and
that's
I'll
good.
just tally up the
I like it. I like
the
it.
points.
Do
So
we
round.
find out at the end or after each song?
I will tell you after each song.
Okay.
I mean, a lot of these are no brainers. Ready? Here we go. Round one, song one. And it's looping.
Nice.
All right.
Yeah, I already know.
Your options are Euphoria, A, B, Goat, C, The Audacity.
Go.
Goat.
Okay. Okay,
This is a
song
very
two.
short clip.
That's great.
Hey, you just gonna play the whole dang song?
No. I played like 5 seconds of it.
That's just so cool though, because like it's all you need,
Oh yeah.
but
Yeah.
somehow there's so much more. Like
Yeah.
that's not what the whole song is, but it might as well be the whole song. I have no idea how to explain that phenomenon with them.
So we've got A, Light, B, Reverie, or C, Playing God.
Playing God, and I vote from now on. You don't give us any options.
No, come on. We need the
You're
options.
gonna need it in the later rounds.
Okay.
This is just round one, Mike. Calm down, Mister. I know everything about Polyphia.
Nick, did you vote or did you pick?
Yeah, I said the same thing.
Okay. Song three,
That's
Mike.
my
If
answer
you
for
don't,
all of them.
if you don't get this, I'm punching you. I'm throat punching you. Oh,
Ego
Seem
death.
longer than the rest. Yeah.
I will contest Nick's point to Playing God being like the best intro to Ego Death being the best
Dude.
intro.
Both the nylon strings.
Yeah, and then you have
So
like
good.
that just fat, dirty synth bass underneath. But my favorite thing is when they get into the second loop of the riff, when they cut out the nylon strings and you just have like, you know what I'm talking about. It's hard to explain.
Yeah. It's very cool. A lot
in
of
the
cool.
music video, that's when the title pops up. So good.
Very cool. All right, bonus for round one.
Okay.
Nope, that's not it.
I know what that is.
Are some of these longer than others?
Yeah, by a little bit.
Okay.
So there are no multiple choice. You just have to give me the name.
Is that one Yas?
What's your pick, Nick?
Can't hear it again.
Yeah.
Did you do like effects on that with some reversing?
I did.
Yeah.
What?
Because it's a very like I know it.
Premiere.
No.
Shamira. No.
I will give you guys another chance to get a point. Can you guess the album that it's on?
Renaissance.
No, it's definitely not Renaissance. Wait, hold on.
That's New Levels.
Is
of
it
Devils.
Goose?
It is Goose.
Yes.
Now, which? Well, obviously you know which album,
Yeah, he knows what album that is. Yeah.
so you don't get the extra point because you guessed wrong the first time. So you can have two points.
What? Oh, wait. Huh?
His first guess was Yas.
I get 2 points.
Wait, did he? Wait, he got points for the bonus round for getting nothing right.
He said Goose.
So he got 2 points.
Well, I mean, I'll give him one. I don't care
I'm confused. Like, what's he
Okay.
getting 2 points for?
because
So-
so I'll give him one because if you guessed right, you got 2 points for the bonus.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So he's
Okay.
getting all 2
He-
points, even
he
though
just
he was
gets-
wrong.
He just gets one.
Oh, okay.
He just gets
Wait,
one.
I follow now. I follow.
All right, round 2.
I like the reversing you did, by the way.
Yeah, that's the only thing. That's the only one I did it with. I wish I would have done it with the others.
Go ahead,
Um,
guess, Nick.
Is it A, Champagne, B, Chimera, or C, Neurotica?
Erotica.
Yep. You cut it off right before the amazing percussive
know.
guitar starts.
I know,
Like,
I know.
love that part.
Uh,
I don't even know. How do you move your fingers and pick fast enough to make that percussive part?
It's a
happen?
freaking hybrid picking, man. He's just a freaking beast. All right.
It's a burst.
Come on. You didn't even have to play that part. I knew exactly what it was.
I even took her vocals out.
A B C.
My
Or
guilty pleasure.
His favorite song.
My favorite song. I'm not even joking, guys. Like, I hate
Alright.
that I love that song, but
I'll
I
have
genuinely
to listen
love
to it with
song.
that in mind.
I hate that you like it. I hate that you like it
Oh,
so much.
so do I.
All
I
right.
really do.
Song 6.
Just those symbols.
Oh, so good. Bad, Saucy, or OD?
Go ahead, Nick.
Saucy?
OD.
That's OD.
It's OD.
I have to let you go first because I don't want you to.
All right, here's bonus 2.
Oh no, this isn't good.
My favorite song.
I mean, the song is really good. I just, oh man.
If you don't know what the song's called, give me the album.
No, give me a second.
You Little New Devils.
Saucy.
Album.
Well, if it's not saucy, then it's that has to be a New Levels, New Devils song.
It is New Levels, New Devils. It is bad.
Shame on me. I'm
right.
actually doing a lot better than I thought I was going to do because
Yeah.
I am crap with song titles.
Yeah. All right, round 3. These are worth 3 points.
Oh dang.
Oh, dang! You're doing math back there.
Well, I'm gonna have to tally everything up. So
So are you still giving us multiple choice, or we have to?
yeah,
think of
you're
the
still
other
getting
one?
multiple choice.
Okay.
All right,
How many rounds are there?
just 3.
Okay.
But this round has 4 songs, and there's another bonus.
Bonus round. Ding 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 ding. Double
All right.
bonus.
All
Call it
right,
that.
all right. Song 7.
Oh come on.
Light, Champagne, or 40 ounce.
Champagne.
Yes, sir. You're correct.
Ding 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 ding.
Hey, FSF Popcast. How you doing tonight, Timothy?
Timothy.
All right.
Just be real quick, Tim.
What?
If you're still here, I feel bad saying this, but I told Nick this the other day, and now this is just how I say your last name in my head. You are, to me, because I don't know how to pronounce your last name, Tim Bicycle. Hopefully that's close. But you should go support Tim Bicycle and the FSF Popcast. Go check them out because they're pretty cool dudes.
Shout out.
And gal. Dudes and
Yeah,
gal
Mike's
over
living
there.
in my basement now.
He lost his recording space.
I did. I'm actually homeless.
He's definitely homeless.
By Seagull, I was close. Wow.
That's very
It's
close.
a C, not a sick.
Yeah,
Cool.
A-
Goal.
a G,
Yeah.
not a C.
Yeah.
Yeah, and nothing like what I said, but yeah,
No,
it's close.
not close.
Bicycle.
All right, next song. Let's hear it.
Bicycle.
I'm glad Champagne got in there.
Oh, dude. All right, number 8. Bittersweet, lit, or crush?
Bittersweet.
Oh no. That's Crush.
That's Crush.
All right, song number 9.
Bicycle. Wait, was that right? Was it Crush?
You were right.
Crush it.
Was that Paramore?
Wow, Tim.
Ouch.
Wow. You need to listen to this
Yeah.
episode.
Go back and watch. It'll all make sense to you. Where are we at? 9? Dude, I freaking love that riff. All right, is it Chimera, Nasty, or Yas?
Nasty.
Nick.
Michael?
It's Chimera. Come on,
Chimera.
Nick.
What?
All right. I'm not
One
good
of
with
the
names either.
names.
I'd probably fail this bad. All right. Song number 10.
My daughters love this song, by the way.
Dude, like his Oh man, it's ridiculous. Let's play it again. Oh, dude.
Have you seen the music video for that song?
Yeah.
Clay
All right,
Media?
is it what?
One of the granny's names is Chlamydia.
Oh man, that's a fun video for sure. Saucy Bloodbath or 40 ounce?
Sousy.
40 ounce.
40
That's
ounce
40
it
ounce?
is.
My girls will get in the car and they'll be like, "Can we listen to the granny song?" Because
Yas.
they're all dressed up like granny, or their grandma's playing guitars. It's pretty funny. Anyways,
All right. Final bonus. This is worth.
can I just say I feel so vindicated with this game after the last game we played, where I
Right?
did
Yeah.
absolutely nothing.
Well, and I'm being a little bit nicer than Nick. I'm actually giving you options.
Yeah, Nick and Chad were just straight up jerks.
But I'd probably still mess this one up too. All right, last bonus. Man. There's
I don't
no
know if I'm gonna
options.
get this one.
All right, if you don't know the song, give me
Wait. You just wait a little second over there. Okay.
What?
Nick, do you have any guesses here?
I was trying to place the album.
I'll give you a hint.
It's a Renaissance song.
You
Yeah,
said
that-
you said the name of it earlier.
Saucy.
No, of being one of your favorites from this album, I believe.
I want to say, I'm going to go out on a limb. Say this is Nightmare from Renaissance. But I'm not very confident in that.
Nick, what's your guess?
Light.
And you're gonna say which album?
Well, it's on Renaissance.
Yes, you are correct.
Thank you.
That was light?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, dang. Good job, Nick.
So, but you got the album right.
Yeah.
And you,
I think I'm going to
Nick
finish
got
with like 12.4798.
no. There aren't no. There are no
It's whole
decimals.
numbers.
That's whole number, sir. So you guys talk, and I'll do the math.
Okay, so Tim, he made a guess. Dragon Force. Close. But no, this whole episode, we dove into the amazing instrumental band named Polyphia, and highly recommend you go back and listen to us literally gush and fawn over this band. If you're a fan of guitar centric music, this I feel like this band is at least a must check out. And I feel like anyone who enjoys music, if they were to give Polyphia a shot, would probably fall in love. Yeah, so go listen to Polyphia after we're done, or while you're here watching. I mean, I'm sure. I think that's honestly, I think that's what Nick's doing right now.
Listening to it right now.
Yeah.
It's too loud. When I listen to it, I can't hear you guys.
And I apologize for any echoes and things of that nature. I'm sitting about. How far do you think this is? 7
Dang it.
feet? 8? 9?
I lost
10.
10 feet? 10 feet away from Nick in his basement. Which, like you said earlier, Nick, even though I'm like in your basement, it doesn't look that diverse of like environment. It couldn't be more diverse between our two cams.
That's right. Especially when I boost your light over there.
Yeah, all this lighting is making me like actually really sweaty.
Here, I'll turn you back down.
Thanks.
We've got a winner.
All right, and we're definitely got a copyright strike now.
No. I try to keep them short. All right. So, Mike,
Oh, thanks, Tim.
you got 24 points.
Whoa.
And you are not the winner. Just kidding. You are the winner.
I was like, that bonus round for light was mega.
Yeah, geez. That was
Yeah.
honestly.
Nick,
that
you
was-
had 18, which I mean that's really
Okay.
good.
That's better than I
good.
thought.
But that light answer, that was great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was
dude.
clutch.
It was.
I like that song.
This was really fun.
It was very fun.
First off, the game was really cool. Kudos.
Thank
Good
you.
job, Jeff.
Thank you, sir.
Good job also with the topic. I mean, I believe you were the the thought behind talking about Polyphia. The three of us, we love music, love talking about music. For some reason, Chad
We don't do it
doesn't listen to
very
music.
often.
I don't understand. But yeah, we don't talk about music that much. Maybe we should. I could talk about it so much. I love it. It's one of my biggest passions. And I
Same.
just find everything about music fascinating. I'd love to do more deep dives into bands or things like that. This was really fun. I don't know. How did you feel about it, Nick?
No, I love talking about music. It's always a good time.
So close.
Only 6 midichlorians away from victory.
Man, is that how you spell midichlorians? Something looks
I
right
don't-
about that.
I don't think it is, but it's close enough.
Come on, Tim.
Or maybe he is right and we're wrong. I don't know.
Probably. I mean, he is a writer about Star Wars, so I would trust him.
I think there's an I in there. Well, another I, a third I.
Wow. Skip the hyphen. Classic.
Skip the
Tim.
Dang.
hyphen.
There's a
Classic
hyphen.
Tim.
See, it'll get you every time. It's sneaky.
Yeah. Also, I just want to say, good job hosting, Dan.
Well, thank you.
It was nice, nice being in the passenger seat, and you did a good job.
What can I say? I love being aggressively mediocre at what I do.
Hey, consistency is all we can ask for, and you nailed it.
Nailed it. Yes. Love it.
Yes. Yeah. So, anything else we need to do?
No, that's basically all I had. You wanna
Impressive. Most impressive.
send us out, Michael?
Sure. So, as my final farewell on my last podcast on Showboys in Ohio, I would like to say
I like
thank you for
the
tuning in.
pause.
Yeah, You got to have the dramatic pause. Yeah, no, thanks for listening, guys. Subscribe here, YouTube. Go follow us on audio platforms if that's where you're listening. Leave a comment. Let us know what you think about Polyphia, what your favorite songs are, why you like them.
Please listen.
Discord episode. Link to our Discord in the episode description. We're in the midst of season 2 of Pokeboys. Also, those episodes come out Fridays at noon on YouTube and also our audio platforms. That season has been a blast, so go give that a listen if you're a big fan of Pokemon. Do we have any other stuff happening? Just our Thursdays and the Pokeboys stuff at the moment.
For now,
cool.
yes.
I don't know what's going to be happening next week. I most likely won't be here, so you'll be in great hands. I think Nick might be out too.
I will be out.
There might be another child arriving in this house.
Yeah.
Right around then. So
Yes.
early congratulations to you guys.
Thank you.
Yes.
And yeah, next time you see me, my background will be different again. So
Palm
we'll
trees.
see how many times I can change the backgrounds. Yeah. Take it easy, guys, and we'll see you next week.
Peace out.
Bye.
Should we?
Yeah, we should play the
We should
intro.
probably do something. I don't know what to do. I've never
Yeah,
done this
just-
before.
See, he's really here.
Yeah,
He is really
that's
here.
where I was sitting over there.
Live from my other couch.
Hey, look, a boomer band.
Boomer